you're watching this, don't try what I did, please. I know people say that all the time and half the comments end up being fake and gay or you just used mods, bruh. But I'm telling you now, there's something Mojang never meant you to see. And I found it. And ever since I did, it's followed me, sometimes even when the game's closed. This isn't some Herobrine story where you catch a glimpse and laugh it off. I see things moving in the pixels, things that twitch and flicker just outside the render distance. Last night, lying in bed, I heard the click of my iron door, only my PC was off. My phone kept buzzing with notifications from people I don't remember adding. My hands shake as I record this, knowing the audio might glitch, the file might corrupt, or maybe it'll reach you with something attached. You know that instant panic when you drop into a new Minecraft seed and realize it's nighttime and you're unarmed? Multiply that by 1,000. That's what it's like here. The sky isn't just dark, it's wrong, full of shifting, oily colors, stars that pulse like bruises. The mobs aren't mobs anymore. I've built shelters in caves before, blocked myself in and waited for sunrise. But here, the shadows move behind the walls. They move through them. My coordinates won't display. You think you know what Minecraft sounds like, even the weird cave noise jump scares. But nothing's supposed to sound like static breathing or a warped version of your own voice repeating your last command. Sometimes windows pop up. Are you still there? Sometimes they answer for me. I want to log out, but the escape key's gone. The options menu is just a black page. I swear something's whispering from the speakers. Maybe it's just my own voice recorded and played back to me, changed, stretched. I started all this just wanting to find a new cave update hype seed. Classic, right? But caves shouldn't go this deep. Worlds shouldn't slip away beneath your feet. If you're hearing this, you're already too close. Turn off your device if you can. Burn this video. But I guess I should start at the beginning. Ever have one of those days where everything's just a little too normal? That's how it started for me. I was home, weather outside somewhere between eternal drizzle and delete this biome, caffeine in hand, recording as usual for the channel. "What's up, Mob Squad?" I said, doing my over-the-top intro voice because, well, that's just what you do when you're speaking to a handful of faithful viewers and a bunch of bots trying to sell you ray tracing hacks. I figured I'd start a new survival world, no mods, no shaders, just honest-to-notch vanilla Minecraft. Even use that clean random seed option, because why not? We all know Herobrine isn't real, right? Half the comments I get on old videos are just spawn Herobrine, seed 666 at 3 a.m. challenge, and I always laugh. Booted in, punching my first tree, humming that nostalgic music, you know the vibe. The sun was overhead and a patch of sheep lined up like they were waiting for a photo op. I made a joke about them forming a union and chuckled. Classic, cringy Minecraft humor. Everything felt easy. For a moment, it was just me and the world and a million possibilities. But then, right away, I noticed something off. The grass was a shade too saturated, almost blue-green, not the usual lively green I'm used to. And when I looked up, the clouds didn't drift. They were stuck, frozen in some random shape like white scars across the skybox. No biggie. I thought maybe my settings were janked up from last week's snapshot. I even made a joke for the recording. Guess the cloud updates here, folks. Blocky weather patterns are the new RTX. But the weirdness didn't stop there. Building my first dirt hut, I found a single obsidian block halfway inside a hill, not at lava level either. I figured, okay, bug chunk, map artifact, whatever. I ignored it. Big mistake. The audio started to trip me up too. At first, it was just a little echo and the block broken sound, like a short delay, barely noticeable. Then the wind whistled in a way that didn't belong. Minecraft doesn't have wind. Sometimes it sounded wetter, almost like breathing or sloshing water, but with no river or ocean for miles. I dismissed it, maybe kept it in the video for laughs, to roast later. I got my crafting bench set up, inventory a mess like always, but the second I opened my chest, it blinked. I mean, the animation jolted twice as if it opened and closed at super speed, and for one frame, the inside was black, not empty, black. I muttered lag, probably. The
The kind of thing you forget by the next jump cut. You're thinking, why didn't you quit? Honestly, curiosity. Views. That what if that keeps you up at night and makes you ignore the gut drop in your stomach. I should have trusted it. Then the first real glitch happened.
The first real glitch came out of nowhere. I was in the middle of shearing the sheep, my unionized friends from earlier, which hadn't moved an inch in daylight. That's when the wool clipped right through their bodies, vanishing before it hit the ground. The sheep stared straight through me, unblinking, eyes too white around the edges. It unsettled me enough to joke. All right, what is this, developer prank or haunted resource pack? But I hadn't touched my files, not even a data pack on this world. My hunger bar glitched next. I watched it fill and empty in rapid succession, flickering like a Morse code message. I tried eating bread and the audio stuttered. Chew, repeat, reverse. One bite sounded like chewing, then, just for a heartbeat, it sounded like static, but not static. Breathing? Or was it whispering a word I couldn't place? I laughed it off for the recording, but it felt like the game was laughing at me. Then mobs started acting wrong. I saw a chicken backpedaling across the terrain, flapping its wings in frames that weren't part of the normal animation loop. A spider crawled upside down in broad daylight, not burning, moving in perfect zigzags as if tracing some invisible grid. I tried to hit it, but my sword teleported back to my inventory with every swing. The landscape broke too. Leaves on a birch tree glitched, textures missing, replaced by that infamous purple and black checkerboard. Classic corrupted asset, except I hadn't seen those colors since custom map experiments years ago. My debug screen bugged out too, coordinates replaced with --. Weird, but not terrifying yet. That's when I checked the chat. I saw my own username, my real actual account name, float into the console. Your user 123, hello. Except I hadn't typed anything. My hands were freezing above the keyboard. Wait, that's my actual username, but I didn't type that. The silence after was thick. Sheep stared. I could feel a weight across my shoulders, like the game was hovering just over me. Then the game sent a private message, direct message, "You're not alone." I tried to laugh it off. "Nice try, Herobrine," I said, forced grinning for the footage. But my voice sounded tinny in my own headphones, like the pitch was off. The message lingered. Then came another. "System, look behind you." I couldn't help it. I snapped my camera. Nothing there, just the fake blue-green grass and a horizon that flickered, black pixels bleeding in at the corners. My screen's darkness levels jumped up and down, like my monitor was breathing. The error messages started. "Warning, you're not permitted here." I hovered over the notice, but it disappeared before I could screenshot. My heart spasmed. I tried saving and quitting. Menu hung for a second, then spat out a new line. "Exit is disabled." Whoever programmed that, it's not in vanilla. I alt-tabbed. My mouse lagged. The game window wouldn't shrink, just pulsed and glitched around the desktop background. In-game, a soundtrack I'd never heard before began to play. Broken piano notes, reversed and stretched past recognition. What crashed my game shouldn't exist in any seed. One of those sheep from earlier glitched through a wall and phased out, leaving behind a wool block I couldn't pick up, no matter how many times I tried. I checked my chat log, thinking maybe I'd accidentally triggered something. Instead, I saw more lines. "You're being watched. Don't turn around." My hands were shaking, but I couldn't make myself log off. The game was talking to me for real. Not script, not mod, not some ARG prank, no redstone-built punchline at the end. Then, the final warning. "Are you sure you want to stay?" I just sat, breathing in time with the flickering screen. FOMO, right? I should have quit when the warning popped up, but curiosity killed the cat, and maybe the player too. Then, as if the game had had enough of toying with me, everything froze. My mouse locked, the screen flashed, and the music dropped to silence. A shudder ran through my headphones, a deep, metallic groan. That's when the new portal appeared.
At first, I thought my game had just crashed for good. The screen froze where I stood, staring at the glitched-out horizon, sheep mid-jump, a world caught between frames like a bugged GIF. But then, in the distance, something new shimmered into focus, a shape where shapes shouldn't exist in Minecraft. It wasn't a nether portal, though the frame was made of something dark, almost obsidian, but with veins pulsing dimly underneath, like a living bruise. No purple swirl, nothing recognizable, just a smear of foggy glass, shifting colors, blue, then pink, then almost a ghostly white that seemed to suck your eyes into it. Above it, a chat message bloomed, out of nowhere. Further is deeper. I know I should have killed the client, but instead I found myself drifting closer, the world bending around me. With every slow Minecraft step, the air got thicker, the music, such as it was, dropping in pitch until it was just a bone-dry rattle. I made a checklist aloud to anyone who'd be watching later. Not dreaming, not high, no resource packs. I could hear my own breath on the recording now, a little too sharp. I circled the portal frame, checking for redstone or data pack clues. Nothing. I even tried hitting debug to check entity info, but my keys just brought up a scrambled corner of unreadable text. The portal looked alive, like it was waiting for something to step through. Not an entrance, more of a mouth. Hey, Internet, what would you do, really? Call it fake and click away? I should have, but my hands barely remembered the keyboard, and some corner of my mind said, hit record screen. If I disappear, someone needs to see this. So I did. I threw a block in, classic portal test. The dirt vanished the moment it touched the fog, gone without even a blip of sound. So, because fear and FOMO are a hell of a mix, I walked up. My last thought before entering was so stupid it almost makes me laugh now. Yeah, this isn't the Nether. That place at least has standards. The second I touched the haze, the world caved in. It was like being dropped in ice water, except the cold was digital. Freezing bits and bytes, locks and buffers in my head and on the screen. The usual loading transition didn't happen. No swirl of color, just a jagged, impossible stutter that threw my first-person view faster than I could blink. I braced myself for the Nether's orange glow, but got nothing but darkness shot through with ugly streaks of color, reds and sick greens. I landed, hard, in a place that shouldn't exist. The ground was warped stone, blocks stretched vertically at impossible intervals, like someone had dragged the Y-coordinate slider way past its normal range. Trees flickered in and out of existence, leaves falling up into the sky before reversing course and plummeting down in slow memory leak spirals. Mobs. Oh God, the mobs. I saw a cow with too many legs, its face shifting between a smile and a dead-eyed glare. It stumbled sideways and melted into the ground, leaving only a trail of static and a sound like teeth grinding. There were villagers too, but not grouped in villages. Some stood stock still in lines that went out of sight, each with arms held perfectly flat and faces that kept flickering between every villager skin, as if the world was cycling through their identities in microseconds. The air was filled with sounds that didn't match the visuals. The click of doors slamming hundreds of times a second, the wet crunch of gravel underfoot, the lull of Minecraft's calm music warping into a low digital growl. I realized I was holding nothing in my hand anymore. My hotbar flickered, cycling through empty slots, and I saw, for a sick instant, my own skin avatar stretched across 2 blocks tall, arms twisted backward. I tried to back out, but the portal was gone. I spun, hunting for its frame. Nothing, just more warped stone and a vista that spat the same impossible horizon in every direction. The way out was behind me, but the portal closed the second I stepped through. I called out stupidly, "Anyone out there?" My own voice echoed back, delayed and reversed. I tried opening my inventory, but got only a single panel. Black with a faint flickering white line like an old VHS tracking error. Chat updated. Depth 1 reached. Don't go deeper. I stared at that message for too long. A cold certainty settled in. This wasn't a glitch. Someone or something was watching. Maybe it was watching everyone, all the time, waiting for someone dumb enough to go this far. Shapes began to crawl along the horizon. blocky outlines that sprouted limbs, then lost them, then grew them back in wrong places, like a video game's memory struggling to keep up. One sprinted towards me, jerking from one impossible pose to another, eyes too dark and wide. Yeah, this wasn't the Nether. That place at least has standards. Here, everything's broken and hungry. I kept the camera rolling, kept narrating. For you, for whoever sees this later, for anyone who Googles Minecraft hidden level at 2 a.m. and finds this. I marked my location, though my coordinates still just read dash dash dash, and the sun appeared in 3 different places at once. Somewhere in that howling blur of color and sound, I understood. Time works differently here. When I tabbed away, the in-game clock kept spinning, even though my real clock was ticking perfectly. Mobs mutated as I watched, dissolving, then reforming from old versions you'd remember only if you played Alpha. And through all that, I felt the pressure of eyes right on me. A chat message flickered again. Next test, survive. I stepped forward. The ground slithered. The ground shivered. My footsteps made no sound, but they left a trail of shadow behind, ink black and smudging the landscape. That's when the first major encounter found me.
I moved, or I thought I did, step by hesitant step, every motion heavy and sluggish, like the world was buffering me in and out of existence. The hunger bar was gone entirely. No health, no experience, nothing, except that flickering black line in the corner, pulsing with each footfall. I tried my best to narrate for the recording, voice uneven. Okay, so survival mode with nothing, huh? Who made this seed? Kafka? Almost immediately, I noticed shadows bleeding across the terrain, not quite right, like someone had painted them onto the landscape with too low a resolution. Then something big moved between the distant melted trees, a shape too fast, too blocky. I caught a glimpse of fur the color of static, square ears perked and wrong. A wolf, or what was once a wolf. Its legs didn't quite touch the ground, and its face, God, its face was blank, a square muzzle with eyes white as quartz, unblinking and too wide. It circled always just out of reach, its path forming perfect geometric patterns, squares, triangles, then fractals, as if testing the limits of the terrain. Every so often, it would stop and turn, and chat would glitch. Something is observing. Would you like to run? Y or N? I typed Y on autopilot, desperate, but the screen simply blinked and nothing happened. If anyone's seen this before, comment, please. I heard my own voice break as I spoke. Not for clicks, not for clout, just for the illusion someone out there might answer. Things got weirder. In the distance, I saw a line of villagers standing shoulder to shoulder, unmoving. Their faces spun between models with every blink, old forgotten villager faces from beta builds, sometimes even the cursed testificates. They didn't speak, but closer approach, the sound of constant, slightly off-pitch villager murmurs clicked against my eardrums, like a recording looped and looped until it was rotten. Their noses twitched in unison. When one turned to look at me, the rest did too, like puppets tugged by invisible string. Between them and me, the world's logic glitched. Trees grew in impossible formations, roots curled out over open air, trunks split and rejoined like mutated veins. I saw a mine shaft hovering above ground, rails bent into spirals and cliffs carved into perfect cubes. Part of me wondered, wild with exhaustion, was this the world's scrapped leftovers? All the stuff Mojang patched out and abandoned? The villagers parted without walking, just shimmering to either side. Between them was a sign, an actual Minecraft sign hovering in the air. Run. This isn't for you. Another beneath it. Configuration null. Logging false. Desperate for something to do, I tried interacting with the sign, but my cursor lagged and twitched away like my mouse was fighting my hand. The villagers began to move, but only when I wasn't looking. Flicker. Gone. Flicker. Closer. I turned in a slow, fearful circle, counting under my breath. It felt like a bad dream, the kind where you call for help, but your voice is stuck inside your teeth. I wandered through a patch of jagged, gravity-defying terrain and stumbled on an old crafting table, chest, and furnace, neatly placed in the shadow of a dead oak tree. Someone's base.
I muttered, half hope, half horror. But the chest was already open. Inside, I found boots, a rotten compass, and a book titled Don't. I opened it. The game stuttered, then showed only a single repeated line, "Leave it be." FOMO burns deep. I scrolled through to the last page. "You won't see them returned." I dropped the book. My hands shook so badly I almost hit quit, but quit was grayed out. "I think there were others here before me," I told the recording. "I found their stuff." There was a warped helmet lying on the ground next to the bench. When I tried to pick it up, my inventory flickered and spit it back out, not unchanged. Not far beyond that, I found something far more distressing, a monolith of black stone, iridescent lines cutting through its sides, not quite obsidian, not quite deep slate. It was covered with scribbles that looked like a cross between old Alpha World Gen artifacts and the Ends glyphs, but some symbols were shapes I'd never seen in-game. I reached out, thinking maybe it was another Easter egg structure, but as my hand hovered over it, the screen crackled and the chat spat another line. "Transfer denied. Testing in progress." A low droning hum started up, like cave ambiance, amplified and distorted. The corrupted wolf appeared again, pacing between me and the monolith, never looking away, its body stretching and contracting like a rubber band. Every time I tried to move away, the land seemed to adjust, an invisible current tugging me toward another impossible structure. A hollow hill, sides cut clean, redstone torches burning with blue flames along the entry. I swore I saw shadows flicker inside, shapes that didn't move like mobs or players, just wrong. Is there a way out? I breathed, barely audible now. Or is this just the void in Technicolor? In a final desperate play, I tried to tunnel down, old survival instincts screeching for motion, for escape. I dug, stone, dirt, then a layer of something unfamiliar, like corrupted logs. The block broke and let out a mechanical gasp. The tunnel vibrated through my mouse, as if the hardware itself was protesting. Far below, a faint light pulsed. Was it another portal? I couldn't be sure. Maybe it was a way out, or maybe it was the thing that wanted me here all along. God, what would it cost to get back?
They warned us in cryptic updates. I just never believed them. It started so subtly, I almost missed it. When I tunneled toward that pulsing light, the world began to stutter, frames dropping. Each block I mined flickered between its normal texture and those purple-black corruption squares. Sometimes they weren't blocks at all, just empty air or shards of code. I fell farther than the game claimed I should, landing softly on a patchwork floor made of every overworld surface jammed together. Grass, stone, snow, mycelium, all mashed with no logic. The light was coming from a half-open door set into a wall of pure, featureless white. I felt it, the world pressing inward, a migraine blooming behind my eyes, as if something in the code was pushing against what should be possible. There, on the floor, I found more left-behind evidence, loose note blocks, scraps of banner, books thrown everywhere. One was labeled Journal Beta T. Inside, shaky, almost childlike text scrawled glitchily, Day 117, no sunlight. Something hacked the options menu, keeps auto-closing. Crew says it won't let us out. G said it's listening through chat. Can you read this, G? Did you make it back? The next page was just a series of corrupted characters, @HX, null, null, null. I found another book, this one locked but glitching between titles. Memo Developer, Log NullSeed. I tried to read and my game froze for a split second. Then the desktop flashed over the Minecraft window, unbidden. A text file had spawned on my PC. No, seriously, a new .txt, time-stamped to now, sitting on my desktop. I opened it with cold hands. NullSeed runtime detected. Do not proceed. They watch through memory, erase logs, remove seed, or join us. I flicked back to the game, heart stalling. The in-game journal's remaining pages had turned solid black, except for one, where a single glyph pulsed, an eye, squared, staring shamelessly back.
I saw a reference a few lines down, something I'd never seen in any official build. Project NullSeed. The word made no sense. I'd been around since Alpha. NullSeed wasn't a biome or an Easter egg or a mod. I murmured to the mic. I saw a reference to something called Project NullSeed. Never heard of it before. Have you? Not unless you've been here. Not unless you've lost something to this place already. The light beyond the half-open door flickered and pulsed, sometimes blue, sometimes the same bruised black as the very first portal. I crouched and moved closer, every instinct screaming at me to log off, to kill the process, to delete the world and wipe my PC. But a voice, mine but not mine, kept whispering, "You've come this far, you might as well finish." Inside was what used to be a command room, redstone complicated enough for a mod pack, but with wires and pistons stuck in visually impossible angles, wrapping through the air, feeding into a solitary librarian villager perched on a throne of code blocks. The villager's face was a dozen faces at once, old skin, new skin, the horrifying, missing texture face that shouldn't even exist. He didn't speak, just blinked his unblinking eyes in a flickering rhythm. On the wall behind him, Project NullSeed, consumed to continue. I stared, heart stuttering, as my game screen dimmed. Then, unbelievably, my files began changing. I watched in real time as my saves folder expanded, little .json and .log files popping up, each labeled with numbers that didn't match my session's timestamp. My antivirus pinged for the first year that year. A new entry in the directory, nullseed.log. Clicking it, I saw only blocks of redacted text, like actually blacked out in my game files. Who censors a single-player world? The journal entries in-game grew more panicked. Crew gone. G said the dev was feeding it. It eats incomplete worlds. Memory errors now. Block IDs vanish. Don't forget me. Then the chat box flickered on its own. Your memory. Downloading. Do not interrupt. Suddenly, the game minimized. My desktop wallpaper had changed, replaced by an ugly, grainy mosaic of eyes. I tried to close Minecraft, but a system prompt refused to let me shut it down. Then, the crown of cosmic horror. A new message, both in-game and on my desktop, appeared. We are the developer. Memory is matter. Feed us more. It sunk in all at once. This world didn't want me to play it. It wanted to use me, to use everyone foolish enough to explore too deep. A godlike entity built not of code, but of all the abandoned data, the old test worlds, half-finished patches, user logs, updates rejected at the last moment, creeping towards sentience on our curiosity. I tried to back up my saves, copy out the videos for proof, but my folders kept swallowing themselves, files eating files, real folders flickering as if bitten by invisible mobs. Each attempt made the screen bleed with more static, blacking out lines of text and swapping my own written words for strings of glitched code. I whispered, almost praying, "Please, someone, if you find this, warn them, delete the seed, erase the log, just don't answer when it calls." But it was too late. My own memory, real and digital, started to slip. The sound of whispers became a roar, 1,000 players' voices mashed together, laughing and crying as they tried to break free. That's when everything, world, code, mind, began to unravel around me. The colors drained, the ground jittered, and I knew this was no longer just a game. Stakes had changed forever.
You ever try to force quit a game and the cursor won't move, not even the task manager? That's where I was. But now it wasn't just clicks refusing to register. My camera LED lit up blazing red even though OBS wasn't on. My mic spiked, crackling softly in the background, catching not me but patterns of static, stuttering as if being sampled and recombined. No joke, my own breathing looped back through the speakers, slightly off time, until I couldn't tell which inhale was mine. I started talking out loud, desperate to anchor myself. Full disk scan later, new world, clean install. It's just a game, just data. Even as I said it, the words hung limp in the air. The world before me, the so-called NullSeed, had broken all the rules. My laptop fan shrieked,
Lines of code scribbled themselves across the top of the Minecraft window. For a split second, I glimpsed a line I shouldn't have. Recording, enabled, logging, voice, location, redacted. I closed my eyes, pressed fingers to my face, tried to will this all away, but I couldn't. Because when I opened my eyes, my Minecraft skin now mirrored myself. Same shirt color, same dead, tired eyes. Only the mouth kept opening and closing, as if the skin was trying to speak back. I jerked the mouse. On screen, the avatar jerked too quickly in a dozen disconnected frames. It was like watching a corrupted replay. And then, the sounds. At first, it was nothing. A low hum, indistinct, maybe a bassy neighbor thump. But then, voices. Not from the game, from behind me, crawling out of the speakers and from behind my monitor. A child's laugh. My own nickname muttered twice from somewhere between the wall and desk. I nearly tore my headphones off. I hear something outside my headphones. No, I mean in my room. That's when the panic really set in. I toggled the desk lamp, snapped back to the desktop, but Minecraft's colors had changed. The taskbar pulsed a cold blue-black and windows endlessly multiplying, closing themselves whenever I tried to click out. The recording icon wouldn't turn off. My own camera froze me mid-expression, open-mouthed, flickering between fear and something that looked oddly smug. On screen, the NullSeed world stuttered violently. Villager heads rolled where they shouldn't. The corrupted wolf circled tighter. Glass blocks melted like wax, and whispering crowd noises overlapped my own voice with every step. Okay, I managed, half laughing in pure denial. At least a creeper's predictable. This, not so much. I tried rescue plans from all those haunted game threads. Alt plus F4, unplugging the Ethernet, closing files in a command prompt. None of it mattered. The screen blanched. Chat lit up with a barrage of messages. Still here? Escape means more memory. Input, blank. Even my password manager popped open, auto-filling in passwords I hadn't used in years. My files reshuffled, desktop icons vanished, replaced by endlessly recursive folders labeled NullSeed, each layer emptier than the last. I looked for help, Googled on my phone, but it just froze mid-search, auto-correcting queries into a mess of static and emoji eyes. I saw old Reddit posts about glitched worlds, image boards trading stories of haunted data, even that famous blacked-out SCP build. But this was worse than that one SCP case. Those stories had endings. Servers reset, cursed files got zipped away, people went back to their lives, spooked, sure, but intact. Here, the boundaries dissolved. I could barely hear myself. My voice recorded differently every time. One moment chipmunk fast, the next a demonic crawl. Facecam flashes bounced back at me, white hot, growing and shrinking without cue. I laughed again, the sound echoing both from the headphones and the hallway outside. If this footage uploads by itself, you'll know what happened. Then the hallucinations. Maybe it was just terror, or maybe the game was rewriting more than files. When I blinked, lines of chat appeared across my eyelids. My hand shook so hard I could barely hold the mouse. Behind my monitor, I caught a glimpse of something, a shifting shadow, a too pale arm reaching briefly into light, gone as soon as I turned. I managed, "Comment if you're seeing this live, please, or if you remember a way out." It felt ridiculous, but not as ludicrous as ignoring the horror closing around me. Finally, the game announced again, "You can leave. There is a way. Patch the file." A desperate hope flickered. I hunted through folders, searching the save directory, following a string of clues and broken .log files. Nothing held. Only one file wasn't locked. patchme.txt. I opened it and read, "Place the final block. Seed will reset. Another will enter." Everything clicked into place. Bleakly. Escape, but only by passing the curse to someone else. I stared at the screen, eyes blurred from light and fear, and listened. Something thumped on the stairwell outside my room in the real world. I wasn't sure if it was my house anymore. Fears blurred, game and reality melting together like snow and rain. I realized I had to risk it, a desperate final plan to break the cycle or lose myself forever in this memory-devouring nightmare. One last patch, one final exit, or none at all.
There's a moment just before total panic hits, a glimmer of rational thought, a trembling urge to act, to fix it before you're consumed entirely. That's where I found myself, hunched over the keyboard, sweat cooling on my palms, eyes darting between the sickly Minecraft landscape and the pulsing lines of patch code flashing across my desktop. I told myself it was a puzzle, just a really warped adventure map. My last hope as the game whispered its sick bargain through the final corrupted message. Patch the file, place the block, reset or remain. The world around me grew more unstable. Trees thrashed, mobs flickered from beta to alpha to some impossible third state. The corrupted wolf stalked circles in the dying grass, trailing pixelated shadows that stretched into the far dark like searchlights. I tried to ground myself, retracing my steps through warped tunnels and impossible rooms. Back up through the monolith fields, those obsidian pillars crawling with unreadable glyphs, over broken bridges, through the crowd of blank-faced villagers. They didn't stop me. Their heads swiveled to follow me, doubling, tripling in my periphery until it felt like I was dragging a parade of silent, emptied-out players behind me. Somewhere above, the sun flickered erratically, now a redstone block, now the gaping socket of a missing disk. I remembered the instructions. Place the final block. The patchme.txt was still open, cursor twitching. As I neared the place where the first portal had spat me out, now warped beyond recognition, a knotted root ball of code and static, chat sputtered a final warning in red. Stop. Deletion in progress. Identity required. I hesitated. If anyone's out there, I'm gonna try it. If this works, I'll upload everything. If not, guess you'll know. My voice sounded paper-thin, nearly lost in white noise. The world tilted. My screen's colors bled at the edges. Was that my room, or just wishful thinking? A cold, sticky feeling climbed my spine. Then, something new. The air thickened, the sound cut out, all but one noise. A throaty, mismatched hum, half voice, half server static. Waiting. A figure emerged from the static center of the platform, not walking, just coalescing pixel by pixel. The developer. It wasn't a person, not really, just a mess of code, tiny fragments of every player's skin I'd ever seen, spliced with off-kilter features, empty sockets, flickering text, files upon files stuttering without sync, cape flapping despite no wind. Where its face should have been, 1,000 usernames shimmered and merged, some I recognized from chat, others horrifyingly close to my own. You can't leave until you bring someone else in. You understand now, right? The words didn't come from speakers or chat. They formed between my ears, a pressure in my jaw, as if a mouth just behind my thoughts spoke through me. My cursor jerked. My camera came on again, LED blazing like a second sun. On screen, my avatar and the developers merged, glitched, split apart, each taking on strands of code from the other. My desktop spat out error messages, browser tabs opening and closing of their own will, all Minecraft, all NullSeed. IP addresses, random seeds, even old screenshots I'd forgotten I'd saved. Why? I croaked, barely knowing who I was talking to. Myself? The code? That thing inside the file tree? Why me? Recruit, repair, consume. Broken text scrolled across the horizon, rolling over the glassy ground. The cycle continues. A seed must be sown for another to leave. Anger sparked, real and alive. No, there's got to be another way. I won't pass this on. I'm not. But even as I insisted, my own mouse began to drift toward the patchme.txt again, cursor hovering on the only editable line left. My brain scrambled for solutions. Alt F4, hard shutdown, unplug the router, kill process. But the game's windows layered endlessly, recursive nightmares. Even a system reboot only made the background flicker. Still NullSeed, always NullSeed, always watching. The developer's eyes, if they were eyes, bulged, layer upon pixelated layer.
I heard the echo not just in my speakers, but in my phone, in the low whine of my router, even in the faint static leaking from my headphones. "You're not the first trapped here, but I could be the last," I muttered thickly, not sure if I was warning a future viewer or bargaining with the code itself. The wolf returned, an old alpha model, broken and stitched to some newer, more monstrous code, pupils flickering between 1 and 0 binary for eternity. It whimpered around my feet, then let out a static-laden howl. The developer's final offer: complete the patch, give the seed, earn release, or stay, remember us. A grayed-out confirm button appeared on screen. My desktop glitched. I saw flashes of my own webcam, showing my terrified face frozen against the digital horror. I could almost feel the code crawling through the circuits, all the way up my arm. Do it, I thought. End it. Pass it on. But I couldn't, not to someone who didn't know what awaited. But then again, the world glitched once more, blurring the boundaries entirely. I typed, hands trembling, into the chat. If I can trap it here, if I end the process without patching. For a sliver of a second, the world stabilized, colors sharpened. The developer flickered wildly, code shuddering, glass fracturing across the sky. My room in the game vibrated, hot, cold flashes racing up my scalp. If I was going to act, it had to be now. I reached for the power button. The developer shrieked through every speaker, every device rattling in chorus, words overlapping, growing echo-heavy, crawling across the walls of my cube-shaped hell. "You can't win. We never forget. Seed must spread. Memory or oblivion." I pressed down, hard, on the power button. The world shattered. My whole existence blinked, null black, and then white static swirling like teeth. For an instant, I glimpsed 1,000 copies of myself, for every previous player, every trapped soul, caught mid-shutdown, looping forever. My final thought, as dark and light burned together: if the file's still here, if this story escapes me, maybe it hasn't won yet. Or maybe, just maybe, it's already found its next player. Reality buckled, ready to snap.
When I finally came back to myself, if I really did come back, I was sprawled halfway off my chair, monitor black, room dark except for the cold blue light of my mouse. My PC whined like a wounded animal. I blinked, waiting for the world to snap back to its old, ordinary self, but nothing felt right. A shiver crawled through me. That feeling of being watched didn't fade when the screen powered off. Worse, everything seemed changed by a few degrees. My desktop icons were back, almost. A handful were subtly glitched, flickering, or renamed in code that made no sense. My Minecraft launcher reinstalled itself after I uninstalled it twice. Then the notifications began. First, a simple ping on my phone from a blocked number, no preview text visible. Then another, a message that flashed for just a split second before vanishing, so fast I couldn't screenshot it. All I caught was the last word: seed. I opened the Minecraft launcher, breath held. My worlds were empty, except for one: new normal. The icon for the save wasn't the classic grass block, but a warped grayscale eye. My hands shook as I hovered over the world, the urge, the pull to click growing stronger by the second. I didn't. That night I dreamed of blocky landscapes folding in on themselves, of wolves with too many eyes and villagers mouthing syllables I couldn't understand. Every time I tried to run, textures stretched around me, and names, usernames I'd seen and lost, and some that weren't mine, flashed and burned into my mind. I woke shivering, feeling the roughness of pixelated grass under my palms. My skin's different, not just in the game. I stare in the mirror and swear my irises look lighter, almost glassy. Sometimes, for the briefest moment, my reflection blinks out of sync. The nightmares haven't stopped, and when I close my eyes, I sometimes hear a static growl or
feel the weight of that developer staring at me from just outside my peripheral vision. I avoid dark corners now. If I leave my computer running overnight, I wake to find new windows open, NullSeed entered in the search bar, log files that weren't there the night before. Was this all a warning or an invitation? I keep asking myself which. Would you risk trying if you were standing where I stood? Or would you burn every copy of the game and pray that's enough? Forbidden knowledge always looks like a shortcut until you realize you can't ever go back. But the price, being haunted by something older than code, changed in ways you can't explain, that price sticks. Don't ignore the itch. If you've seen the signs, heard the whispers, found the wrong portal at the edge of your own map, comment below. Prove I'm not alone. And if you start dreaming in cubes, whatever you do, don't go digging.
If I vanish, you know where to look. DeepSeed 313. If anything happens to me, check the files I've posted, the server logs. My credentials are in the description, just in case I disappear like the others. This isn't like the haunted server story from last October, or that time we tracked down the 404 experiment. This is something else. If anyone finds weird portals, eyes in their textures, or gets messages from NullSeed, drop your experience in the comments. I want to see screenshots, seed codes, whatever you've got, whether it's proof I'm not crazy or evidence this thing is reaching further. I'm posting the coordinates below, but don't go alone, please. If you do it for the views, at least warn the next player. Was all of this a curse, or are we just the first to survive and tell the tale? I hope it's not an invitation. Let's see what the community makes of it. Share your theories. Tag any channel regulars who recognize these logs. And if you catch a glimpse of something watching through your screen tonight, remember, you're not alone. Feed still active?